Srimati Swatiram is an acclaimed thought leader, grassroots worker, and trainer facilitator in the development sector. Her connection to Ramakrishna Mission and Swami Vivekananda's teachings since a young age, and her regular volunteering experience through her college days and IT career inspired her to do more for the society and our nation. She quit her job in 2011 after working with well known corporates and started working full time in the social sector. Her USP is her work across diverse causes, geographies, and stakeholders. She has led efforts in urban slums, rural and tribal areas, and collaborated with NGOs, educational institutions, CSR teams, and individuals from various walks of the society. She has traveled extensively across India, associated with education, health, capacity building, and other missions. She has led the effort and also personally volunteered in relief and rehabilitation during natural calamities in Uttarakhand, Chennai, Kumbh Seva Mitra, an initiative to engage volunteers during Prayag Kumbh 2019, COVID relief and rehabilitation, and many others alike. She has also chaired many panel discussions on CSR, community and volunteer engagement, delivered talks on volunteering landscape in India in various forums across USA. She has been featured on live radio and invited as a delegate at various prestigious meetups. Swati Ram is an Aritra leader selected amongst the first cohort of the Social Leadership Accelerator program incubated by IIMD for the top 100 social leaders of India. She also serves on the board of advisors for Being Volunteer, an organization aimed at creating a positive impact on the society through volunteering. Her emphasis on every individual's ability and responsibility to be and lead the change towards nation building. I once again welcome Srimati Swati Ram to this occasion. Thank you. Jai Ram Krishna.
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः. My humble pranams at the holy feet of the divine trio and also my Brahmalina Diksha Guru Paramapujya Swami Atmasthananji Maharaj, revered Swamijis and Matajis on this forum. I always wondered what it would be like for the students of Nivedita school to learn from Sister Nivedita herself. Whenever I read her books, I thought it would be so wonderful if I was part of that school, at least in another lifetime. So when Ramya called me about a month ago and said that Nivedita Niketana is hosting this program and shared who the other speakers are, I felt as being a part of that school because Paramapujya Swami Nirbhayanandji, Paramapujya Swami Vireshanandji, and Mataji Vivekamani, they have all given me so much love, so much learning from my student days, from my college days. And from the time Ramya told me about this program, I can't even remember the number of times I messaged her saying it's so unbelievable that Nivedita Niketana has completed 25 years. A lot of people like Ramya, Rashmi, Smita, these are people I have spent so much time with again during my student days. Coming to Tumkur was a very favorite pastime for us. Vacation always meant going to another place where there was a Ramakrishna Mat. And I also belong to a small village which is very near Tumkur. So it's more like a hometown to me. And this whole program is really giving me the feeling of being a student in Nivedita school, which also means to say that I'm the most probably novice speaker here, given all the revered Matajis, the learned Matajis. But thank you so much, Nivedita Niketana, for giving me this opportunity and to share a couple of learnings that I've had on the field in the light of Sister Nivedita's teachings on our traditional ethos. And I heartily congratulate all of you again. It was so wonderful to see that documentary. I wish I was in Tumkur so that I could join all these sessions that you have, because like Swamiji himself said, a few hundred men united in thought, word, and you can just throw the world off its hinges. And it's always so nice to spend time with like-minded people. I truly hope I get that opportunity soon. Coming to my topic, I just want to start with an experience that I had. I volunteered in Kumbh, Prayag Kumbh 2019. I was there in Prayagraj for 2 months, more than 2 months, the whole period. And this was one of the most blessed opportunities probably I've had in my life. What is it that you think of when you think of Kumbh, right? It's a prestigious thing that we have had somebody do a case study on us. the most known institutions around the world. It's known as an ocean of people. And it's a spectacle. They have drones taking photos because so many people together are never seen. But beyond all this, for people who were there, I think all the time that I was there, and especially on a day called Mauni Amavasya, when more than 2.5 crores of people were there just to take that holy dip. When people were there starting from 1 a.m. just to catch a glimpse of the Naga sadhus in the procession. People waited for the Naga sadhus to take bath and then went and took bath in the same place. It was unbearably cold. People were shivering but still there. They used to take the soil where the sadhus had walked and take it in a piece of paper, put it on their eyes, and then carry it back home. This is what I saw Kumbh as. So, irrespective of the number of things that you can read about Kumbh, probably even see in videos. And this time, the Kumbh especially became very famous. I mean, all of you would have seen that the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and Kumbh became so famous. There were many awards and that Kumbh won. They got into a lot of record books like Guinness, Limca. And also there was virtual reality kiosks to show you the whole Kumbh. So when I reflected on this topic, I felt beyond all this being there, what really brought so many people? All over the period of the Kumbh, there were more than 25 crores people. I mean, 130 crore population of India, probably one-sixth of the population of India was there. And there was a time limit given for the holy dip. They come take dips and you're then out. It's also so cold. There was so much order in this chaos. And what brought these people from all over India? Some of them used to share, it's just a legacy. Why? You ask them a question, oh, have you been in Kumbh all the time? And they used to say, is this even a question to be asked? It's my legacy, it's my family ritual, it's my family tradition to take bath in Kumbh. And this is what got people, and this is what unites India. It's this power of faith, it's this traditional ethos, it's all these values that bring us together. I mean, imagine the kind of power it could have generated with so many sadhus all around. I was primarily involved in volunteering with the health and sanitation department, and they had given me a makeshift sheet room where a lot of doctors, nurses, ambulance drivers, a couple of volunteers like me, all of us stayed there. And my room, especially, was just opposite an IC room. Imagine being in a hospital at any time, and it was so different being in the Kumbh. Staying there and still being able to serve people, it never created a moment of fear, a moment of any negative thought, because you felt that reverberation in the air all the time. That Mama Subbalakshmi's, MS Subbalakshmiji's Suprabhata used to start in the morning. Everybody wakes up, irrespective of the cold they go. And I think that Kumbh experience shows what this traditional ethos of India is all about. And it always reminds me of this quote that Sister Nivedita used to say, that if the whole of India could say, give just 10 minutes every evening on the oncoming darkness, to give all their time and attention to one single thought, that we are one. We are one. There is no power in the world, nothing that can break them and make them feel divided. And the whole power that is generated out of this unity and oneness probably can never be measured. And this somehow I thought that this thought has, been lived in the Kumbh. It is so beautiful to be there, and this is something all of us have to experience in life. Interestingly, it took woman. I mean, she is so much Indian than probably most of us are. But if to actually reflect back, she actually came from a continent which had so many colonials who ruled over us. But coming from there, we talk about her school, we talk about so many things. She has contributed for science, Indian Institute of Science. Being right here in Bangalore, all of us know how Vivekananda influenced J.R.D. Tata to think about it. But the efforts Nivedita put for it to come up is actually unfathomable. But beyond all this, here was a lady who came from there and tried to awaken the Indians, saying, just look at your unity. Your British are trying to tell you that you have never been united, and it's the language that they have brought, or a few railways and other developments that they have brought, that they are saying that it is uniting your kingdoms. But India is this civilization which has long lasted, right? We say Nitya Nutana Chirapuratana. We don't even know when it started, and get freshness every time. So she is the one who reminded us. And when we talk about this whole, I think Mataji beautifully laid the foundation for modernity and modernism. Why are we always thinking this modernity or the modern thought or the contemporary world that we are all part of always is at only, it comes when you oppose what is traditional. So having this pride in our roots is probably what Sister Nivedita actually got for us beyond everything else. So you are uprooted, you're never uprooted. You have the wings to spread, but you're always deeply rooted in your values. Imagine Swamiji wrote a lot of letters to Nivedita, and he said, I need a woman who can work for change in India, especially of the women. And I see you as that woman, and you're a real lioness. He saw her as a real lioness. But imagine the humility of Bhagini Nivedita. What did she tell? She said, I am coming there to be the servant of his love for India. He's calling her a lioness on one hand, and here she's saying, I'm the servant of his love for India. She had already started a school at 25. All of you would have read it in Wimbledon. And she was an educationist, a prolific writer. Beyond all this, she never came to India saying, I will impose all this, right? I will patronize you. I will teach you how this is done. Actually, as soon as she came, many of you would have read this. It was an amusing incident that you see that there were a couple of children who started shouting, hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray. She said, why are you saying hip hip hooray? Say, Vaheguru da Fateh, Vaheguru da Khalsa, right? She made them tell that. Just from the time she landed, she had that conviction that I am not here to take them off their roots. She spent a lot of time in Bagh Bazaar to understand the whole Indian fabric, first of all, before starting the school. So much respect for whatever was Indian. I don't know anybody else in her place what they would have done. The other thing we have to also keenly observe is that Nivedita respected all the orthodoxy and all the customs she saw here so much. I think Mataji also touched upon it. There has been a journey of Indian civilization which probably cannot be shared in this half an hour. But the changes that we went through because of the numerous attacks we have had, it's amazing that a civilization has actually survived through this. But a lot of changes that have had their roots in this conquest that we had, whether it's a woman who has to come back, home early, or any such customs that you take. Now, question these. Try to find answers. Try to delve into our history and also, ask the elders in the family as to how they came about. But rubbing them off as that they are not required now. This is what we have gotten today in the name of modernity. There is a lot of pride when people I see share, oh, I'm not really interested in all these pujas. I don't think it's really important. What's the pride you're taking? What is this that we are saying that we are moving away from everything that is my selfhood and my nationhood, and I'm very proud of it. And here was Nivedita, who came from there, and she was neglected many times. Sister Sarala Parul, she was known in her student days, student of Nivedita school, and then the first president, Revered Mataji Bharati Prana of Sharda Math. She tells about this that, when Nivedita used to take them to Kali Mandir, and she was not allowed. But she always told these girls how important it was to go there and pray. She used to take them. She used to still stand outside and pray to Mother Kali with tears in her eyes. She never, for one moment disrespected any of these. Even when Sister Nivedita came back from US after raising funds for the school and restarted it on Saraswati Puja Day, not many girls in the school itself had a doubt if she has to really be allowed in the Saraswati Puja. Imagine, this is a school she's giving her life to and she's starting. But all this apart, she never one day disrespected any of her customs. This is the pride she taught us to have in our roots. And today, when we are completely thinking both of these are at loggerheads at each other. Modernity, we define it as, I have left all this. I'm moving only towards development, whatever we call it as. And this is something that we have to first learn from Sister Nivedita. Belief in that unity and oneness that she taught us, and also this pride in our roots. Now, why do we really think that giving away everything that is ancient or traditional, or like Mataji very beautifully said, time tested through the ages, right? And still we don't want to take it. And we are just taking something else which somebody is saying probably without even testing, without an authentic source. Probably we are reading it in the news or hearing it in the news, and we think that is right. I don't know how many of us have really gone and seen it there. So when I realized this, I have spent a lot of time again, very fortunate to have this opportunity to travel across India And especially when I meet some indigenous people, or the Janajatis or the Vanavasis, as they call them, we call them as tribals, but they're all called as this mountain or forest dwellers. You should see the kind of life that they lead. In the name of development, we are actually dismantling the whole traditional wisdom that they have. And it always makes me understand why Swamiji was so keen when he was a Parivrajak or wandering monk and said, you have to do this to understand India. So there was this one particular place, I remember, Nandurbar in Maharashtra. You can go check later. It's very rich in forest resources and mountains. So when we go there, I think the way the tribals lead their lives. So there they were saying me, गणेश पूजा में पता है क्या हम लोग क्यों 21 पत्ते डालते हैं? So they said, why do we use these 21 leaves in Ganesh Puja? The way to look at it is in that traditional way. They have been taught that just because you have to use those 21 leaves during puja, you actually work and respect those 21 trees and never chop them off. You never cut those trees. So imagine each of these traditions, it should give you goosebumps. It makes all of us realize how much meaning has gone into each of this. Similarly, I met a person there who actually could predict rain. I mean, it reminded all of us see this movie Swadesh, and laugh at it. When people speak about global precipitation, and then he says, I can tell this. So when I asked the people, do you still go by this? They said, now we have also started seeing all the scientific predictions of rain for our region. But we also have seen that he has been right many times. So what is the use if I have to embrace only the new and let go of this person who has been helping us from years? So we see both. We take a sum total. We see which one is applicable, and many times they match. The twins meet. And this is the way they are still living. And there were so many examples like this. One thing which I found very touching, how well they understand nature, is when they said one of the tigers in the forest there actually happened to eat a poisonous weed. And it was a pregnant tiger and had an abortion. So when they actually tested, apparently that cub that was there was unhealthy. The tiger didn't want to bring such a child into the world. And imagine they realized, and the tiger knew this weed it eats, and this is the kind of traditional wisdom they possess. And this you will see wherever you go. I have gone to Araku Valley in Vizag, where I saw these tribals, the way they treated us, the real Atiti Devo Bhava we talk about, the way they welcomed us. And on the last day when we were leaving the village, the whole village cooked together. And I think this is very interesting, but isn't it so difficult that all of you are taking all vessels, coming out into the open, cooking for so many people all together? And they said, no family should feel that they didn't get an opportunity to serve this Atiti who came to us, who is actually God himself or herself. How do we really solve this problem? We all get together and cook on the last day that the guests are living. Look at this. We need to learn from them. And this is where this change that we have to see should never be at the cost of our indigenous practices or traditional wisdom. We talk about change so easily. I mean, say I decide that I have to get up in Brahma Muhurta at 4 a.m. tomorrow. It's the intellect which is thinking, but how many times have we really been able to do whatever we are thinking about? It's not so easy. And Sister Nivedita tells this so beautifully that she says, you will only, create these clever apes when you just put every educational snippet that belongs to outside here. It's never enough to just feed the intellect. Emotions are so important. Choices are so important. Decision making is so important. And we feel modernity again is keeping all this as big. You're not supposed to feel anything. You're a material man. You just go by your intellect and decide everything by your heart. That's where she felt it's so important to combine the heart and the head, and the intellect. You teach people how to, the intuitive power, the emotions, those become a real good part of your education. So this concept of change and what education has to be given was again something Nivedita taught us, because we were always thinking all these you have to leave out. What is this emotion? What is this feeling of the heart? You take intellectual decisions for everything, and that never works anywhere. So one more key thing I find whenever I talk to people who say, okay, I keep asking, what are you, in which sense are you modern? What does modernity mean to you? And they said, I have my rights and I will stand by my rights. And you would have seen this many places. I have the right to talk anything. I have the right to tell anything about anybody. Now, the whole Indian society, if you see, was built over responsibilities, duties over rights. Even to put it in simple form, if you see, if I have a right, it is somebody else's duty. Say I have right to education, it is the duty of the teacher. I have right to good health infrastructure, it's the duty of the doctor. Just a simple traffic signal, I have the right to go during green, but it's also somebody else's responsibility to wait at the right. So the whole education system of India was based on this concept where I get better at what I'm good at so that I'm able to pay back to the society. The livelihood was a byproduct, right? So this is the concept that is gone today, and this responsibilities above rights is something we have to so keenly remember. If you see, for example, I keep thinking, what about our army guarding the borders? If they start thinking about their right all the time, and the kind of people they're guarding, sometimes we don't even remember, we don't acknowledge, we don't respect them. Imagine all of them thinking about our rights, right? And the legacy we have had is of such freedom fighters. And one quote of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose that I always remember, he said, "It doesn't matter which of us will live to see India free. It is just important that she is free, and we will give it our all for it." Imagine if they had questioned, what about my right to see free India? They would always have been thinking about how will I really, survive myself, not get into this because it might be a little dangerous. This is the kind of legacy we are living up to. And today we don't read or study any of these heroes. I don't know how many of you have read about this. There was a very famous queen in Tamil Nadu called Velu Nachiyar. Very popular again. Her husband died, and still she didn't want to surrender to the British. She had an infant, and she still tried to, regather her forces, tried to get some weapons, and was ready to attack the British someday to get her kingdom. So the whole story I want to tell is not about her, a very small one, but more about her commander in chief. There was this young girl called Kuili, and Kuili had saved the life of the queen many times. And what Kuili did was unthinkable. I mean, she asked her teammates. They found a temple. Right, this was on Vijayadashmi Day. They found a temple where the British had saved all their armory. They had stored all their armory. She got ghee and oil poured over her own body and went and lit herself. With her, all the ammunition was gone. And with the loss of so much ammunition, her queen was actually able to attack the British easily. Think of what responsibility or right she thought of. All they lived for is that I want to see my country free. This is the kind of love and legacy we have to live up to, because these are our heroes. And this throws a lot of light on what Nivedita also kept telling about responsibility. When she talks about responsibility being the core value of motherhood, but don't stop it there. Can you scale your family ideal to your national ideal? Motherhood, yes, the value is responsibility. Can it also become the society's core value? Can it also become the nation's core value? That all of us are thinking for the general good beyond ourselves. In fact, she says, when I talk about nation making, the best thing parents can give to a child is to show that they are always, very, very, they are thinking about the general good. They always pay attention to the general good beyond themselves. This is another key lesson she gave as to why we have to be responsible. I was in Uttarakhand floods for some relief work during 2013. Learned so much again there. I think on the field you learn so much lessons that you see Vivekananda's sayings or lessons or whatever he told us coming through so well. There was this young girl. Her name was Usha. I still remember it was a place called Bishanpur. This young girl actually ran up a three-story dharamshala and knocked on every door and told people to come out because the floods were approaching the dharamshala, almost hitting them. She was able to save the lives of 250 people. Half an hour that dharamshala was washed away. And then her village people gave them clothes to wear, all the pilgrims, and actually saved them. So I always imagine what, upbringing Usha's parents have given her. If they had to teach her that love and compassion at that young age, it is so important for the ideal of parenthood to do that. One question, but I always also see nowadays being asked is, somehow as modernity we are stuck to extremisms. There are a lot of people who take pride in motherhood. They take a break, they stay at home, and it's a very big responsibility. People think having a child is a responsibility. Imagine rearing the next citizen, and you want somebody like Usha, or you're thinking of somebody who is breaking the whole fabric of the nation. It's such a huge responsibility. So we think of extremes all the time. Oh, I'm doing only this, so people may not respect me. It's also one school of thought that is there. But we have to remember that India has always respected motherhood. It's an epitome. So I don't know, again, a small anecdote. How many of you would have heard about this or you know about this? Kojagiri Purnima just passed by. And there's a story in Shivaji's one of kingdom where he had selected Raigad as his capital. So this Raigad fort was very magnificent. There were walls built on all sides. And on one side, there was a very steep cliff, very vertically, total vertical drop, a very steep cliff. So he never thought there is a wall needed there because who can climb all that up and come there? So all the other sides had walls. Now, this fort used to be locked from dawn to dusk. So they just, I mean, from dawn to dusk it was open. They used to close it in the evening, open it again in the morning. And from a nearby village, a lot of peasants came into the fort daily to, sell different things, make their livelihoods and go back by evening. So there was one lady, a milkmaid called Hirkani. She also used to be a part of this peasants. But one day when she came to the fort, she actually got delayed in coming to the fort because her young kid was crying. So she got delayed in finishing her work. And by the time she actually went back, the gates were closed. And the guard was very, very particular that Maharaj ने बोला है हम इसको नहीं खोलेंगे. दरवाजा कभी नहीं खुलेगा, कल सुबह ही खुलेगा. She tried to explain so much that I have to go, I have an young kid, but nothing mattered to him. The rules are of course rules. Hirkani, this milkmaid, what you can call sometimes in India, we read the most extraordinary things about ordinary lives. She actually climbed down that vertical cliff and reached home just because she had to feed her baby, and she could not think of anything else. Next day morning, very casually and informally, she again came. And when the gatekeeper saw her at the gate, he was shocked because he had locked her inside. And he takes her to Shivaji Maharaj and says, this lady has to be punished. Shivaji Maharaj takes her to the cliff and she says, yahan pe diwar, he says, yahan pe diwar banega aur wo aapke naam se. So today there is a wall in Raigad in that place, the cliff where she climbed over, and it's dedicated to Hirkani's name. This is the respect from times immemorial, and Shivaji is celebrated as such an able, king and such a glorious, courageous personality. He also regarded this and saw what motherhood. So this responsible motherhood, can it also be extrapolated, to be for the societal good, parenthood, or anybody who's speaking of family? Can we also do this, that we think beyond our family and think of the nation as a whole? Every time you're thinking of, hey, what is my greater good? How is a general good happening? And this is actually the ekatva bhava that we have in India when, we say I, according to our scriptures and traditions. It is me, my family, my society, my nation, then world, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, ultimately ending at the Atma Paramatma thing. So this is a very complex thing, if you say, to understand. But whole point of telling this is we have to think for others. And this was the core of every other lesson that Nivedita delivered. The love and compassion she had in her. For the school itself, I think a lot of speakers before me have touched upon it, but she used to ask the girls, have you eaten? Feed them. And imagine she was a lady from outside. First of all, it was a taboo to send girls to school. This was an Orthodox society we are talking about in Bengal. And how could she even get them? She used to literally go knock every door and request them to send these girls. So much love for the girls. She also started vocational training and education for the women, respecting the fact that they had to complete their work at home and then come here. How much love she gave each of these girls. Her compassion again is clearly seen during plague. All of you would have read how she served, cleaned the streets, the drains, and even disinfected homes. And many times she had the dying patients, this child that she had, which clasped at her neck for so long. She used to spend time with them, soothing them. This was the compassion she had. It was not even just limited to humans, right? When even we see that so many times that they've spoken about her, that she never wanted to use horse carriage because she felt the horse will be hurt. And if somebody else came to meet her also on a horse carrier, she used to first tell the person, please go feed the horse something. Have you also eaten? That is what she used to ask the coachman. And very interestingly, also one, I think when she was in Udbodhan, so Golapma is actually very fed up of a cat which is creating nuisance. And she holds the cat and tries to put it out. And not much Bengali picked up by then, but Nivedita just says, Mrityu, Mrityu. What she means is the cat will die. Don't do this. I mean, that was how much her heart actually beat for everyone. And she herself says, can we not create this vast compassion in our children and ourselves? That's the only way that we learn about what is the grief of our land, what is the sorrows that humans are going through, what are the things, what are the troubles that this modern thing is bringing to our religion, how it is getting washed away. And only this compassion can create such strong workers who are just working for work's sake, who will be so much thinking about others that they are ready to die when it is for their nation or for their fellow men. This is the love and compassion ultimately, which is a lesson all of us have to take up. Whether you call it as, whether we call ourselves modern women, I don't know. I keep joking about modern women nowadays because we might call all of us as modern. But today the generation gap is so huge that there are some researchers which is shown every 5 years the generation is, becoming much more modern. And probably our own younger cousins nowadays, or if you see college, you think of us as very ancient. So which is really modern. So ultimately, this having this compassion and love, which reflects back, if you see, as what Swamiji prophesied as the twin ideals of India: Tyaga, Tyaga, Seva, Seva, renunciation and service. It all comes down so beautifully to following these two ideals. And this is the lesson we have to take from the life of Nivedita. Having this pride for our heritage and having this Tyaga and Seva in our lives, that we think beyond everywhere. This is something we saw completely during the COVID period. Government did great, lot of things happened. But if you see the number of people who plunged into action, and people just started cooking at homes and sending it to every other COVID patient in their area. So many such things. I read about many schools. I mean, I myself went to some schools. We sent some medical equipment there. Schools which the alumni and students had converted into COVID care centers. And I was talking to Manipur near Impal, very far away, one primary health center, a small one. A nurse was telling me that no equipment are delivered there by any of these vendors. They deliver it only till Impal. And she comes there just, to collect this equipment every one way she has to travel 4 hours. And sometimes just to give the documentation needed for this equipment, she again used to spend 4 hours. I mean, this cannot be done just because you're working as a nurse. It requires a lot more within that heart. You can also see the vaccination drive where people have reached out to the most remote places. It is this love and compassion. It is this feeling of service. It cannot just be driven by having a job and I earn out of it. This is the lesson that we have to really carry, and you can see it in action. I think to end, like Mataji also shared this, that Tagore referred to Nivedita as Loka Mata, and Holy Mother herself, Mata for all of us, Sangajanani, called her cookie daughter, and she really became the daughter of India. So in a way, she realized this, epitome of motherhood from being the daughter to the mother. And she really lived for India. Even Darjeeling, where she has passed on, the words, like all of us know, they say, here reposes Nivedita, who gave her all to India. And like Mataji said, her japa was Bharat Varsha, Bharat Varsha. Imagine what it takes for a life like that. A very senior social worker once was just telling me in passing that an army can die for the country, can't we at least live for the country? This is the message that we have to take from all such ideal personalities, and we have to live by this. So be very assertive about your pride and your values. I think Mataji Vivekamai also touched this at the end. I see that we are very conservative in being proud of our tradition and heritage. So most of them are not proud, but even people who are proud, we are very conservative. But let's be very assertive about it. We should take pride in what we are doing. We should tell the world why we are doing it and where all the roots of it lie. So if we could live a life like that, I think that's the noble or ideal purpose probably Vivekananda and Sister Nivedita wanted all of us to live up to. Having said that, thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to share a few of the lessons that I've learned and my experiences in the field. I can't tell the whole team of Nivedita Niketana again how proud I am that you have even created this platform for so many more young women to come forward and become Gargis and Maitreys. I extend my wholehearted support and I hope to meet all of you in person soon. Namaste, Vande Mataram.
बालिका अहम बालिका नवयुग जनिता नाहम abala durbala adishakti aham ambika. I'm a girl of modern times. I'm not feeble or powerless. I'm adishakti. I'm ambika. Swami Vivekananda, as a futurist, viewed women as harbingers of our civilization and as the shapers of our nation's future. Woman is a personification of love, patience, persistence, courage, endurance, and whatnot. All these made her capable of striking balance between challenges of modern world and traditional ethos of India. Thank you very much, Swati ma'am, for an intriguing talk. You are a very eminent speaker. We are winding up the event. Please, organizers and speakers, turn on your video after Jaikara for a group photo. The session is going to end with Jaikara, and after that, please turn on your video, all organizers and eminent speakers. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Jai Shri Mahamai Ki Jai. Jai Shri Swamiji Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Jai Shri Durga Mai Ki Jai. Jai Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagavan Ki Jai. Jai Ram Krishna. Speakers and organizers, please turn on your video.